Good morning, students. Good morning to all. So today we can go to the second lesson. Okay. So already we have completed the first lesson. I hope you all are completed the first lessons, or may not be the one or two more questions you may can completed. Okay. So today we can go to the third lesson. Okay, because second lesson is not too much important, I think. Okay, so after over the reopen, so we can take that second lesson. Okay, so now we can go to the third lesson. Okay, so the third lesson is theories of employment and income. Okay, so third lesson is theories of employment and income. Okay, so before going to the lessons, so we must know about some of the introductions, or we must know about some of the problems of the nations. Okay, so all over the nations are facing some different problems. So except the basic problems, the basic problem is one of the most important problem of all the nations throughout the world. But even though all the nations are facing some different type of the problems, employment problem or policies problems or income problem, and what some of the inflations, deflation, and so many type of the problems have to be faced by the nations, all over the nations. So among these nations, the employment problem is one of the most vexing or most dangerous problem, because the employment problem only is the major factor to determining the national income. Okay, and so many of the policies is underlying on the basis of the employment level. Okay, so only the employment problem is considered as most dangerous or vexing problems. Okay, for example, if any of the nations has the full employment level, that nations has no need to worry about their national income and the living standard of the people of that same nations. Okay, so the employment is one of the most important problem faced by all over the nations. Okay, and so there is more relationship between the employment and income. Okay, so before considering about the national income or the per capita income or personal income, so we have to understand about the employment situations or the employment problem of one nations or one societies. Okay, okay, now we will go to the lessons. First, we should know about the meaning of full employment. Have any idea about the full employment? So full employment means that person who are willing to work and able to work must have employment or a job. Okay, if any persons are want to going to the work with the ableness to doing the work, and at the same time when he has the employment or job opportunity, that is called full employment. Okay, in one nations all the persons are want to going to the work and they are able to doing all type of the work, and in the same time this nation having in full employment in an employment opportunity or job opportunity for all, that is called full employment. Okay, so in these situations we can say there is no problem for anyone to satisfy their human wants or basic needs. Okay, because all the persons are having the capacity or power to purchasing the commodities what they want in throughout the year, because he has more purchasing power because of the employment opportunity. Okay, so simply first if you want to understand the full employment mean, in the full employment situation is a situation in which all the people are having in the job opportunity or the employment level. That is called full employment. Okay, or we can understand in other side. So all the factor of productions will be in busy or in engaged. So all the factor of productions mean all the labor, land, capital and organizations will be in fully engaged. Okay, so what are the sources are there? Every sources also will be in used. That is called full employment situations, right? Understand, student? So the Keynes, one of the economists, defines the full employment as the absence of involuntary unemployment. Absence of involuntary unemployment means, so without having the ableness, without having the willingness to doing the any work, if any of the or all the factor of productions being engaged, that is called full employment. Okay, so no persons will be in unemployment, that is called full employment according to the Keynes. Okay, and the Lerner also one of the economists, he defines the full employment as the level of employment at which any further increase in spending would result in an inflationary spiral of wages and prices. Okay, so without having the problem of inflationary spiral of wages and prices, that is called as full employment. Okay, the inflationary spiral of wages and prices means normally in these inflation situations, so we should know about the inflation situation. So already we have studied, I think, in our 11th standard we have studied. So the inflations mean, so the volume of money is increased and the value of money is decreased. Okay, and so the more demand is chased the more money. Okay, so anyway the volume of money or there is more price level. Okay, so increasing price level, the price of the commodity is continuously increasing, that situation is considered as a inflation, right? So the inflationary spiral of wages and prices mean, so whenever the wages are going to increase, on the basis of increasing the wages, the prices of the commodities also will be increased. Okay, that is called inflationary spiral of wages and prices. Okay, so when this situation, in a situations where is no inflationary spiral of wages and prices, that is considered as a full employment according to the Lerner. Okay, so we will study about the later subject about the spiral of wages and prices. Okay, next, the meaning of unemployment. We have studied the full employment. Full employment means it is a situation in which all the peoples are willingness to doing work and ableness to doing work, and if they have the job opportunity or the employment, that is called full employment. Okay, but on the controversy, so unemployment is a problem faced when there are people who are willing to work and able to work but cannot find out suitable jobs. Okay, so in our nations all the peoples are want to going to do the work and they are willingness to do work and they are ableness to doing work, but they cannot find out the suitable jobs. This situation is called as unemployment. Okay, if a persons are having the ableness and the willingness to doing any work and in the same time there is no job opportunity, that situation is called unemployment, right? In unemployment problem, so even though all over the nations are facing the unemployment problem, in our India, while formulating policy to solve the problem of unemployment, we need to distinguish between the nature of unemployment in rural areas and in urban areas. Okay, because we don't know about the other nations, but in India, so there is more controversial gap between the rural areas and the urban areas. Okay, because if you are considering the government policies, so the government policies provide the more importance to making or formulating in of the industries in this urban area only. Okay, so the rural area will not having or will not getting any of the chance to make the industries. Okay, and not only that, so many of the colleges and the universities are constructed in these urban areas only. Okay, the rural areas not having the opportunity, not having a suitable place to constructing the industries or in of the college and universities. Okay, and so many of the rural peoples are migrating from the rural to urban area to find out their suitable jobs and going to study the highers. Okay, and not only that, the major feature of rural unemployment is the existence of unemployment in the form of disguised unemployment and seasonal unemployment. So disguised unemployment mean, so for showing, so we can thinking there is so many of the employment opportunity. Okay, but when we are doing or when we are analyzing the employment situations, so many of the unemployment problem only will be there. Okay, otherwise the seasonal unemployment means, so throughout the year there is no job opportunity. Okay, for example, so in this rural area, so many of the people only are involved in this agricultural sector. Okay, the agricultural sector will provide the yield in 2 times or 3 times per year. Okay, normally the cultivating of the rice will providing their yield 3 times per year only. Okay, the rest of the time, so though many of the peoples are will be in unemployment situations. Okay. Okay, students. Next, we can see the types of unemployment. Okay, so there is different types of the unemployment will be existing in our nations. Okay, so before that we should know about some of the form of unemployment. Okay, so when we are considering the developing nations or the developed nations, the unemployment problem will be as a different form. Okay, so mostly in these developed countries, we're having the unemployment problem of temporarily or cyclically only. So in these developed nations, we have the frictional or the temporary unemployment problem only will be there. Okay, but in this developing countries, so all other types of the employment will be existing. Okay, so first one of the types of unemployment is cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment. So this unemployment exists during the downturn base of trade cycle in the economy. This unemployment exists during the downturn base of trade cycle. So we have studied, the trade cycle. So the basis of trade cycles. So the boom, recovery, recession, and the prosperity. So that is the one of the cyclical movement of every economy. Okay, on the basis of the movement of the cyclical of trade cycle, some of the unemployment will be created. Okay, for the example, so in this third basis or the fourth basis, okay, in this recession or the depression, okay, from the downward means, so it is the second stage. So anyway we can consider the time of during depression. Okay, in this during depression or the recession period. Okay, in this period all the economic activity will be in very low. Okay, so the capital level will be decreased and the employment opportunities will be decreased and the production level decrease and the demand will be decreased because of low purchasing power, and many of the problem will be arised in this recession period. Okay, when all the economic activities will be in very low, in that time, so the unemployment problem will be arised because of low capital formations, low demand or the low purchasing power of the commodities by the human beings. Okay, so only in this time, when every economy activities meets the downward turn pace of trade cycle, that is the depression fee time or the recession time, so the unemployment problem will be created. Okay, this unemployment problem is called as cyclical unemployment. So in the cyclical unemployment, mostly the income and output will be fall. So because of that, it is leading to widespread unemployment. Normally, so the national income and the output is increased only, so many of the demand for employment will be created. Okay, if there is no income, if there is no output, there is no demand or there is no supply of commodities in this market. Okay, when the demand for the commodity is increased, that time only the supply will be increased. So on the basis of increasing the supply only, the production level increase, and because of that income and the employment opportunity also will be increased. Okay, but in the downturn phase, all the income and the output will be decreased or it will be reaches the zero. Okay, so in this time employment problem will be create. That situation is called cyclical unemployment. So this cyclical unemployment, how can we remove? By public investment or expansionary monetary policy. Okay, so the individual investment have to be increased to start any of the industries or make a more capital formations. Otherwise, the expansionary monetary policy. Expansionary monetary policies mean, so the Reserve Bank of India have to take some of the policies related to improving the economic activity. Okay, so because of the cyclical unemployment, okay, the downward base have to be increased due to increasing the capital formations. Okay, so that the government have to take the expansionary monetary policies. Okay, when the governments are taking expansionary monetary policies, so all the entrepreneurs or the individual people also will having the more investment level. Okay, next, seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment. So this type of unemployment occurs during certain seasons of the year. In agricultural and agro-based industries like sugar production activities are carried out only in some seasons. Okay, so the seasonal unemployment only will be arised in a particular area, the particular sector. Okay, normally in this agricultural sector only the seasonal unemployment will be created. Okay, so normally I said, first itself. So if any of the agriculturist peoples are going to cultivate any of the paddy or any of the wheat, so the 2 times or 3 times only, so the agriculturist people or the farmer can able to earning their income. Okay, the rest of the time they will be in unemployment situations. Okay, so within a particular time only some of the peoples are going to earn, and the rest of the time if they are being without employment, that is called seasonal unemployment. And in some industries also seasonal unemployment will be occurs. Okay, some of the industries only will be produce some of the commodities within the particular time or the particular season only. Okay, for simply if you are taking the industries which is produced the umbrella only or the helmet only or some of the notebook only mean, and the particular time only the demand for that commodity will be raised. Okay, and that time only, so the supply of the commodity will be increased and the production will be there. Okay, and the rest of the time there is no production, there is no output, there is no income. Okay, so all the workers will be in the unemployment situations, right? So okay, next frictional or temporary unemployment. Frictional or temporary unemployment. So this type of unemployment arises due to imbalance between supply of labor and demand for labor. Okay, so all the factor of productions, not only the commodity, so all the factor of productions also will be facing the high demand and the low demand. When the gap is arrested between the demand for the labor and the supply of the labor, some temporary unemployment will be created or will be formed. Okay, so this is because of immobility of labor, lack of necessary skills, breakdown of machineries, shortage of raw materials. Okay, some of the laborers are moving from one industry to another industries for the purpose of earning more income. Otherwise, some of the necessary skills. Okay, if any of the laborers are not having the necessary skills, so the company also will be removed from that companies. Okay, that time that persons will be in unemployment situations. Okay, and some of the machineries, suppose the breakdown of the machineries or some of the introduction of the new machineries, in this both both factor also will be creating the demand for the labors. Okay, so the shortage of raw materials. Okay, suppose if any of the industries are having the shortage of the raw materials, so this time, so the industries cannot able to produce abundantly. Okay, that time these industries will be reduced to the number of labors. Okay, so this reduction of the labor also will be in the short only, because the short time period only. So again the demand of the labor will be increased. Because of that the unemployment problem will be disappear. Okay, next educated unemployment. Educated unemployment mean sometimes educated people are underemployed or unemployed when qualification does not match the job. Okay, so many of the people are completed their degree BE or ME or higher qualified of the degrees. Okay, but even though these people are going to the labor or the cheap labor or the helper for the mason or the carpenters. Okay, suppose any of the persons are completed the higher educations and if they are going to the lower work, that is called educated unemployment. Okay, or sometimes the faulty education system, lack of employable skills, measurable students, and turnout and preference for white collar jobs are highly responsible for educated unemployment in India. Because such as these reasons also the educated unemployment will be created. Okay, some of the peoples will completed the BE, but these peoples doesn't have any of the required skills. Okay, and not only that, all the peoples are going to the college and every year some amount of the students completed their degree and the number of students are increasing every year, but there is no employment opportunity comparing to increase the students coming from the universities and colleges. Okay, and the lack of employable skills. Okay, even though some of the peoples are completed their degree and that people doesn't have the specialized skill to doing the work, in that time also the educated employment problem will be create or appear. Okay, next technical unemployment. Next technical unemployment. So due to modern technology, this type of the unemployment problem will be appear. Due to the modern technology mean nowadays so many of the initiatives is taken by the entrepreneur. Okay, so the contribution of technological is highly required in any of the industries or all the industries. Okay, whenever the technical is increased, in that time some of the labor will lose their employment opportunity. Okay, because one of the industry, one of the machinery will doing some work, then the work is done by the labor. Okay, one machinery is will be in equal to 100 labors. Because different type of the machineries is adapted and applied in industries. Okay, due to the modern technology or the modern skilled and some of the innovations of the industrialization, some of the employment problem will be created. That's called technical unemployment. Next is structural unemployment. So structural unemployment will be created due to the drastic change in structure of society. Structure of society means, so normally already we have studied, normally the people's wants is different by time to time. Okay, on the basis of time to time, the demand of the commodity of human beings also will be changed. That change is called drastic change. Okay, on the basis of the drastic change, some of the production of old commodity will be stopped. Okay, so in that time, those people who are involved on productions of that old commodities, that people will lose their employment opportunity. Okay, that is called structural unemployment. Due to the drastic change in a society, some of the employment problem is removed from the society. That is called structural unemployment. Next, discussed unemployment. Next, discussed unemployment. So when more people are there, then what is actually required? Okay, sometimes the agricultural people or sometime in industries also, for doing, for completing enough the work requires 10 people, but there is 20 people are going to doing the same work. The salary will be given to the 20 people divided the 10 peoples. Okay, the salary for the 10 peoples only will be splitting to the 20 peoples. Okay, and the agricultural, in this agricultural also will having the more discussed unemployment. Okay student, today it's enough. So in these types of unemployment, if you have any doubt, please ask me. Okay, thank you.